Okay. It's time for the last argument. Here we go.
Argument 30. The James Randi $1 million psychic challenge argument.
For those who don't know what this is about, the James Randi Educational Foundation, founded by stage magician James Randi, is offering $1 million to anyone who can demonstrate supernatural abilities under controlled conditions. As this video is being made, the challenge is undergoing some changes. Because so many applied to take the challenge but then back out, it's become quite a time sink for the foundation, so it's likely that they won't allow just anyone to take the challenge in the future. Instead, only established psychics will be able to take it, and I guess the trick at the moment is to determine the rules for what counts as an established psychic.
Skilled and versed in the art of stage magic, Mr. Randi claims to be better able to detect fraud and trickery from psychics and mediums better than scientists can.
And he is. You do know that stage magic is all about trickery, right? And science isn't?
There are many obvious problems with this argument, of course, since one stage magician with an axe to grind and hosting a publicity stunt does not debunk all paranormal experiences in the world.
He doesn't try to, and JREF is an educational foundation. Calling the challenge a publicity stunt and claiming that JREF is just one magician is just plain silly.
But hang on, what argument are we talking about here? I know what the $1 million challenge is, but what's the $1 million challenge argument? It would help if you actually presented an argument.
They still happen every day to people all over the world.
Then it should be easy to demonstrate, shouldn't it?
Based on numerous testimonials from challenge applicants and para-researchers, there's much circumstantial evidence that Randi is not that honest, for he has used plenty of deceptive and dishonest tactics in the past. There are many reports and analyses of him that indicate this and damage his credibility. I've provided a list of them below so you can research them for yourself.
Yeah, I won't be going through all of these, I'll just sum it up. The tests are unfair, the standards are unreasonable, Randi cheats, blah blah blah. What's interesting is that in every single case when someone takes the challenge, they agree to the standards, the test, everything. The rules are that you need to pass a preliminary test to show that there's actually something there worth testing, and then you need to pass the same test again at a later point. This is mainly to eliminate dumb luck as a factor. The challenger will take part in creating the test, and they always believe the test is fair until they fail spectacularly in the preliminary test, and they always do. At that point, they'll make up excuses about the test being unfair. It's always the same story.
I would say in conclusion that regardless of whether Randi's psychic challenge is legit, I do not believe the fact that it's officially unwon to constitute proof that paranormal and psychic phenomena don't exist, as some debunkers claim.
Not proof? No one would say that. But it's very good evidence, as we would expect the challenge to have been won in about 5 minutes if people really had supernatural powers.
Simply put, there are a variety of reasons why it would still be unwon, ranging from Randi's own dishonesty and less than sincere motives, to tricks like perpetually raising the bar, as well as the spiritual principle that psychic abilities used for selfish motives or profit disconnect one from the higher source they emanate from.
Care to provide any kind of evidence of this principle? No? Didn't think so. Nor can you provide evidence of dishonesty or give an example of when he raised the bar.
Furthermore, if you also pit the argument of the unwon challenge against the overwhelming anecdotal majority population and scientific evidence for psychic phenomena, it's nothing in comparison.
There's no such thing as overwhelming anecdotal evidence. The plural of anecdote is still not data, and there is no scientific evidence for psychic phenomena. So this is simply false.
Simply put, one unwon public challenge by a debunker and magician does not invalidate the countless millions of paranormal experiences throughout world history.
None of which have any supporting evidence to begin with.
Nor does it refute the years of replicable psi research done by Gansfeld or Pierre experiments, among others.
Would you shut up about that already?
Finally, in regard to CSICOP, Committee for the Scientific Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal, one revealing thing needs to be said. Former CSI Cop staff member Dennis Rawlins resigned after finding hard evidence of CSI Cop intentionally suppressing its own findings which supported astrology.
Indeed, the study supported the idea that people born when Mars is rising in the sky are more likely to be successful athletes. Suspecting that there may be a problem with the selection, the authors ended up arguing over what to put in the article as the deadline was approaching. Rawlins felt he got screwed because the article, correctly, questioned the validity of the test rather than presenting it as a successful test as Rawlins thought it was. Why was this the correct thing to do? Well, because in other experiments, astrology never gets better than chance results. This means that there are really two possibilities here. An absolutely groundbreaking discovery has been made, or there's something wrong with the experiment. What you do in such a case is assume the latter and keep testing to see if you can rule that out. You don't want to announce something absolutely groundbreaking only to later find out that it was just bad data. That's when your credibility goes out the window. Later studies confirm that there is indeed no such thing as a Mars effect.
And speaking of astrology, skeptic and debunker Michael Shermer set up a double-blind test for astrologer Jeffrey Armstrong, who passed with flying colors, scoring a major victory for the validity of astrology. You can see the video clip of this test here, which includes a surprise twist at the end.
The video is down, but if it's the test I think it is, then it was not successful at all. The twist being referred to is that Shermer switched a couple of readings in an attempt to trap Armstrong, but it failed, making him look, well, pwned. I'll admit that. But the accuracy of the test was 77%. Now that might seem impressive, and it certainly looks amazing on TV, but sorry Jeffrey, joke's on you. B.R. Forer performed a classic experiment in 1948 where he gave a class of psychology students identical fake readings using lines from actual readings, and then allowed students to rate the accuracy of what they believed were descriptions of their own personalities. On average, they rated it 4.26 out of 5, which is 85%. Armstrong actually demonstrated that astrology is worse than guessing. The problem with experiments like this is that people are allowed to rate the accuracy of their own readings. If they want them to be accurate, they will interpret them as being accurate.
For those of you who have followed the work of Randi, Shermer, or CSI Cop, ask yourself this. Have you ever seen them criticize anything of the establishment, including crimes, murders, lies, conspiracies, evil plots, etc.?
Yes. For example, after a very quick Google search, I found an article from 2007 by Michael Shermer criticizing the Bush regime's actions in Iraq. And that same year, JREF gave the Bush regime the Pegasus Award for their faith-based anti-science policies. So yes, they do criticize the establishment, but that's irrelevant to their credibility as debunkers of pseudoscience.
So what does it say about them if they have no problem with lies and evil plots that result in the deaths of millions, yet have a big problem with the death of a few if alternative medicine is involved?
They do have a problem with the former.
It tells you that they are one-sided with an axe to grind rather than fair, honest, or objective. They are fanatical defenders of establishment and orthodoxy, holding that side to be blameless. As such, they are totally blind to the faults of authority, or deliberately ignore them at least.
Damn, seriously, stop it!
Their critical thinking and skepticism can only be directed at anything against the establishment, and never anything from the establishment. Tell that to the pseudo-skeptics, and when they deny it, challenge them to produce a publication from a media skeptic or skeptic organization that openly condemns or criticizes the above crimes of the establishment, elite or shadow government, whatever you want to call it.
I just gave you 2 examples, but what the hell does this have to do with anything?
A real skeptic is able to apply skepticism to all sides, including their own.
Oh, the irony. But look, even if a skeptic doesn't publish articles critical of a particular cause, that doesn't mean he supports it. It simply means that he's not expressing his opinion about it. He may be for it, he may be against it. You can't tell from the information available. But I also have to repeat, how is this relevant to other issues? A true statement doesn't magically become false simply because the person making the statement is an asshole. That's the ad hominem fallacy.
Well, that's it. That's all 30 arguments. Next time we're going to have a look at the conclusion. See you then.